On the morning of May 30th, 1941, the sun is already high. The heat presses down like a weight. Dust hangs in the air, thick and unmoving. Gunfire echoes through olive groves shattered by weeks of fighting. A small group of Allied soldiers moves along a rocky ridge. They are exhausted, outnumbered, low on ammunition. At their center is a man walking with a limp. His left leg is soaked in blood. A bullet has torn through muscle and bone. He does not ask for help. He does not slow the others. His name is Captain Charles Hazlitt Upham. A New Zealand army. Above them, German aircraft circle like birds of prey. Below, German infantry closes in from 3 directions. There will be no relief, no evacuation, only surrender or annihilation. Upham looks across the broken ground. He understands the situation instantly. After the evacuation of Greece in April 1941, Allied forces regrouped on the island. British, Australian, New Zealand troops, battered but defiant. Crete controlled the eastern Mediterranean. Whoever held it could threaten Axis oil routes, shipping lanes, and air dominance over North Africa. Hitler knew this. On May 20th, 1941, Germany launched Operation Mercury, the first full-scale airborne invasion in history. Thousands of German paratroopers dropped from the sky. Many were slaughtered before they hit the ground. But slowly, brutally, the Germans adapted. By the end of May, Allied defenses were collapsing. Orders came down the line. Prepare for evacuation. But evacuation required time. Time the Allies no longer had. Small units were left behind to delay the German advance. One of those units belonged to Captain Charles Upham. Before the war, Charles Upham was a farmer. Born in Canterbury, New Zealand, he had no interest in glory or medals. But in combat something changed. During the Battle of Crete, Upham displayed a level of aggression and composure that stunned even veteran officers. He led bayonet charges against entrenched German positions. He fought through machine gun fire at point-blank range. He continued commanding after being wounded multiple times. His men followed him because he never asked them to do what he would not do himself. By late May, Upham had already earned what would later become his first Victoria Cross. But the medal did not save him from what came next. The German net tightened. Roads were cut. Radio contact vanished. Ammunition ran dangerously low. On May 30th, Upham's unit attempted to withdraw under cover of darkness. They never made it. German troops emerged from the hills. Automatic weapons opened fire. The firefight was short and decisive. Wounded men fell. The rest were surrounded. Upham was shot again, this time in the leg, while trying to break through the encirclement. He collapsed. German voices shouted orders. Rifles leveled. A German officer stepped forward. The fighting was over. Upham lay on the ground, bleeding heavily. The Germans searched the prisoners. They took weapons, maps, documents. They did not take his will. As German medics treated his wounds, Upham watched everything. The guards, the terrain, the direction of the sun. He was already planning. Most men at this moment would think only of survival. Upham thought of escape. That night, the prisoners were moved toward a temporary holding area. Guards were tired, overconfident. Upham waited. When a moment came, brief, imperfect, he took it. Despite his wounds, he lunged for a guard's rifle. A shot rang out. Chaos erupted. Upham ran. Not far. Not fast. A burst of fire cut him down. He was captured again, this time beaten, restrained, and placed under heavy guard. Most men would have learned the lesson. Upham did not. German officers began to understand something. This New Zealander was not an ordinary prisoner. He did not accept captivity. He did not obey passively. He did not break. They labeled him dangerous, which, ironically, only ensured he would be watched more closely, and moved deeper into the heart of the Reich, toward Germany, toward places from which escape was said to be impossible. As transport trucks rolled north, Upham stared through the slats of the vehicle. He memorized roads, rail lines, distances. He did not know where he was being taken. But he knew one thing with absolute certainty. The Germans had not captured him. They had only slowed him down. By June 1941, the train moves slowly through occupied Europe. Coal smoke pours from the engine. Iron wheels grind against steel rails. Inside the cattle cars, Allied prisoners sit in silence. No windows, no air, no certainty. Charles Upham sits against the wooden wall, his legs still stiff from wounds that have barely healed. German guards ride outside, rifles slung, confidence high. They believe the worst is over. They are wrong. Upham studies everything. Guard routines, stops along the line, how long the train slows before junctions. He is not alone. Among the prisoners are men who understand what he is thinking. Somewhere in southern Germany, the train slows for a curve. The guards are relaxed. Upham whispers a single word. Now! A door is forced open. Bodies move. Men jump. The fall is brutal. Upham hits the ground hard, his injured leg screaming in protest. But he is moving. Through mud. Through darkness. Through trees tearing at his uniform. Shouts erupt behind him. Rifle fire cracks the night. A bullet grazes his shoulder. He keeps going. For hours he limps through forest and farmland, avoiding roads, following hedgerows and ditches. At dawn he collapses in a field. Bleeding, exhausted, he has escaped the train. But not Germany. The German response is immediate. Roadblocks appear. Dogs are brought in. Local civilians are questioned. Upham tries to move only at night. He drinks from streams, eats raw vegetables from fields. Pain slows him. Infection sets in. After several days, weak and unable to outrun pursuit, he is spotted by German troops. There is no fight left. He is recaptured. This time, the guards are furious. Beatings follow. The message is clear. There will be consequences. Upham is transferred to a prisoner of war camp. Barbed wire, watchtowers, searchlights. The Germans believe this will contain him. They underestimate what captivity does to men like Upham. Inside the camp, he becomes known quickly. Not for speeches, not for leadership, for action. He studies fences, counts guard rotations, tests boundaries. Other prisoners begin to assist him, quietly, carefully. Escape committees form. Tunnels are started. Upham volunteers for the most dangerous tasks. He does not ask for permission. By late 1941, under cover of darkness, Upham and two others slip through a weak point in the perimeter. They crawl beneath wire. They cut through a blind spot between towers. For several hours, they move undetected. But the terrain is unforgiving. Snow falls. Footprints betray them. A patrol intercepts the group. Shots are fired. Upham is wounded again, this time in the foot. He still fights. But once more, the Germans take him alive. The commandant is done. This prisoner cannot be contained in normal camps. Reports are sent upward. Upham is labeled uncooperative, dangerous, incorrigible. There is only one place for men like that. Offlog 4C, Colditz Castle. High above the Mulde River, Colditz Castle rises from the rock. It is not a prison. It is a challenge. Inside are the most troublesome Allied officers in German hands. Men who had escaped multiple times. Men who refused to comply. Men the Reich could not break. Upham arrives battered, limping, and unrepentant. A German officer studies him carefully. "You will not escape from here," he says. Upham does not respond. Behind Colditz's thick stone walls, escape is considered impossible. No one believes that more than the Germans. No one believes it less than Charles Upham. Because for him, captivity has never been a state of mind. It is only another obstacle. Stone walls rise straight from the cliff face, centuries old, built to repel sieges, not house prisoners. Inside, corridors twist and narrow. Doors are reinforced with steel. Windows are small, high, and watched. This is where the Germans send officers who refuse to submit. British, French, Polish, and Dutch. Men who had escaped once or twice. Sometimes more. And now Charles Upham. He enters the castle slowly, leaning on a stick. Still limping. Still wounded. The guards see weakness. The prisoners see something else. Colditz is quiet, deceptively so. Roll calls are strict. Movement is controlled. Punishment is swift. But beneath the surface, Colditz is alive. Maps are drawn in secret. Uniforms are sewn from blankets. Tools are hidden in false walls. Every man here shares a single purpose: escape. Upham does not need to be convinced. He joins the escape committees immediately. He learns the routines, the blind spots, the sound of boots on stone, and the weaknesses. Colditz' strength is its age. His weakness is that same age. Old drainage shafts, unused chimneys, forgotten crawl spaces. The prisoners explore everything. Walls are tapped, measurements memorized, patrols timed to the second. Upham volunteers for reconnaissance missions. He climbs where others hesitate. He crawls where space barely exists. Pain still follows him, but pain is familiar. By 1942, multiple escape plans are underway. Some will fail. Some already have. But one stands out. A route through the castle's roof structures, then down the cliff face. Insane. Dangerous. Perfect. Upham is selected as one of the escape candidates. The Germans know him well now. They watch him closely. Too closely. The escape begins at night. Guards change shifts. Lights dim. Upham moves through the castle. Disguised. Calm. Deliberate. But fate intervenes. A guard steps into a corridor unexpectedly. A flashlight beam sweeps the darkness. Upham freezes. Too late. He is seized. Dragged back. This time, the punishment is severe. Solitary confinement. Rations cut. Constant surveillance. The Germans believe they have finally broken him. But they have not. Months pass. Winter grips the castle. Upham grows thinner and quieter. The guards relax. They mistake silence for surrender. In early 1943, Upham tries again. Not with a group but alone. He slips away during a work detail. Moves through a service corridor few guards use. For a brief moment, he is free inside the walls. Then a shout. A struggle. A shot. The bullet tears into Upham's shoulder. He falls. This time, he does not get up. Doctors are called. The wound is serious. As Upham lies on a stretcher, a German officer looks down at him. Not with anger, with something closer to respect. This man is not a criminal, not a troublemaker. He is a soldier who refuses to accept defeat. The Germans make a decision. Upham will escape no more. Upham is transferred, not to another camp, to a hospital, then quietly to a different kind of confinement. His war as an escape artist is over. But his war is not finished. Colditz had been designed to crush defiance. Instead, it revealed something the Reich never understood. Some men cannot be contained. Even when their bodies are broken, their will remains free. By mid-1943, in Germany, the hospital room is quiet. White walls, clean sheets, guards posted outside the door. Charles Upham lies motionless. His shoulder is shattered. Infection has set in. This is no longer a place to plan escapes. It is a place to survive. German doctors work carefully, professionally, not out of mercy, out of obligation, and perhaps respect. Upham does not speak much. He watches. He listens. Even now, part of him measures distances. Old habits do not die easily. When Upham recovers enough to be moved, the rules are different. No work details. No mingling. No opportunity. He is classified as permanently unfit for escape. A quiet victory for the Germans. A silent defeat for Upham. For the first time since Crete, there is no route out. Only time. Months pass. Then years. The war outside the wire grinds on. News filters in slowly. Stalingrad. North Africa. Normandy. The bombing of German cities. Upham listens. He says little. Other prisoners come and go. Some are broken by captivity. Others adapt. Upham endures. He keeps discipline. Keeps routine. Keeps dignity. Even the guards notice. He does not beg. He does not complain. He does not cooperate beyond necessity. He remains a soldier. By 1944 in London, paperwork crosses desks. Reports from Crete are reviewed again. Eyewitness statements. After-action reports. Men recall a New Zealand captain who charged machine gun positions, who fought on despite wounds, who led when leadership meant certain death. And then, the escape reports, repeated attempts, relentless defiance. A recommendation is made. Then something unprecedented. Charles Upham is awarded the Victoria Cross. Not once, but twice. Only the second combat soldier in history to receive it twice. Upham does not know. He is still a prisoner. Word reaches the camps. Even the Germans hear. They read the citation. They do not mock it. They do not suppress it. Some guards look at Upham differently now. Not as a problem, but as a professional. One German officer quietly says, "If I were on the other side, I would want men like you." Upham gives no reply. Praise changes nothing. The war is not over. By early 1945, Germany is collapsing. Food grows scarce. Guards grow nervous. Artillery can be heard in the distance. Then one morning the guards are gone. Silence fills the camp. Hours later, Allied troops arrive. Upham is free. He walks out slowly. Thin, scarred, unbowed. Upham returns to New Zealand. There are parades, ceremonies, speeches. He avoids most of them. He accepts his medals quietly. Then he goes home, back to farming, back to silence. When asked about the war, he says little. When asked about captivity, even less. He never considered himself a hero, only a soldier who did his job. The Germans had captured his unit. They had imprisoned his body, but they never captured his will. And that, more than any medal, defined his war. By mid-1945, in New Zealand, the ocean stretches before him like a promise. Familiar hills rise behind him. Birdsong cuts through the quiet of early morning. Charles Upham walks along the farm paths he once knew. Calloused hands brush wheat and grass. The land is untouched by war. But he is not untouched. Memories remain, not just of combat, not just of captivity, but of the moments in between: pain, courage, defiance. He carries them silently. In the decades that follow, historians will analyze Crete. They will study Colditz. They will measure bravery in medals and citations. But Upham's story is not just about medals. It is about a soldier's spirit, about a man who refused to be broken, who understood that captivity is only physical, if the mind and heart remain free. He is remembered not because he sought glory, but because he could not accept surrender. Even in hell, he found a way to resist. Charles Upham inspired generations. Soldiers who faced overwhelming odds. Prisoners who refused despair. Ordinary men and women who needed proof that courage is not the absence of fear. It is action in spite of it. Even his enemies recognized it. Generals who faced him in Crete. Guards who watched him at Colditz. They did not forget the man who ran through fire, blood, and barbed wire. The man who never yielded. He survived because he never surrendered. He fought because he could not do otherwise. He returned home to quiet fields, medals pinned neatly, but a heart that still bore the scars of war. The Germans had captured his unit. They had captured his body, but they never captured his soul. History remembers victories and defeats, but it is the courage of the individual, the refusal to yield, that endures. Charles Upham walked through hell, and when the gates closed behind him, he carried freedom within himself. A freedom no prison could ever take.